Oh, hi, this is Keshav of CSC Data Science. Today our topic was making computers do more with less. Computing for workers. Modern programs are structurally unreliable artifacts, but they need not be the same that way. Which means modern programs are structurally unreliable artifacts. Yeah, nowadays the programs are getting easier or very much larger, like unreliable artifacts, but they need not be that way. Okay, in no other complex device would be accept a degree of unreliability comparable to that found in software. No other complex device would be accept the degree of unreliability comparable to be that found in software. That we accept this, and worse, when it comes to software, doesn't speak well of our profession's technical culture. We seems to be first professionals for which quality is a secondary concern. It might not, however, be too late to do something about it. The computer and programs I envision are meant to be for people who use a computer as a work instrument, not as a toy or pastime. These days, no major operating system appears design complexity around the guidelines. Okay, we accept this and worse when it comes to the software doesn't speak well. Okay, we seem to be the first professionals for which a quality and is a secondary concern. Okay, these days no major operating system such as Windows or Mac OS are designed very complexity to do the works of us. The Windows contains GUI or mouse pointer, as well as the Mac OS are also contains Mac mouse pointer to access the files, and the system calls are done inside the computer or the processor. Okay, um, but such as the Linux or Unix contains so many system calls to open a file even. Make it simple, make it small. Any ideal operating system's main design guideline mandates keeping things simple, small, and efficient. Let us take an example of Windows. Windows is a small, simple, and efficient, such as by double clicking a file, will open a file instantly. But while opening a file in Ubuntu or Linux, by but in Linux or Unix, we can't just open a file by double click because it does not contain any mouse pointer. We need to write every small system call, like for right click, then we need to uh, write open the file, then the file will be opened. While the file will be opened, it cannot be modified. To modify the file, we have to write another command. These system calls and all are eliminated to the user's point of view, so that the operating system is made very simple manner. First, design a simple, small, fast kernel to deal with the secondary memory backup, persistent code, memory allocation, and the process management with some basic network functions. The kernel should be small and easy to install. The rest of the operating system equally so. The operating system should never need to occupy more than 50 megabytes of the secondary storage, but we can grant it twice as much as 100 megabytes. An operating system in this size with similarly small programs can run a whole computer on a 500 megabyte memory disk. With abundant memory to spare, magnetic disks and compact disks would be external devices that can easily be attached to a computer, but that the computer can do without. Good programs should run at an acceptable speed or on a 50 megahertz CPU. A slower CPU means less power consumption and longer battery life. That if the computer is used to work, we need not a lot more than the semi-transparent menus or fading shadows below and on the right of Windows. Frankly, assuming that computers these days should need a 1 gigahertz machine to make the menu appear in a reasonable time is ridiculous. Do we really need a color? Simple, possibly. Black and white windows would be more than adequate. If a black and white screen can save some power and add a couple of hours to the battery life and the power consumption decreases and users welcome it. Because nowadays we are getting AMOLED screens which if the if a pixel got a black then the pixel is turned off. Then when the pixel is turned off the battery life will be more than a LED screen, normal LED screen. But for the designers who absolutely need color, it should be hard to add this option to the operating system. On the other hand, we must avoid the building the computer too small. If the intended user does a lot of writing, a small screen becomes a pain, a key, even a small keyboard more so. At last, all the simplification should lead to a simpler operating system. Efforts should be directed toward the making computer very thin and light. Die installation die. Installing a program should only require copying a bunch of files in a directory. Uninstalling it should only require removing those files. There should no dependencies between the programs. A few things annoy more than installing a program A only to discover program B must be installed. Then turn requires to program C. And so until the user runs out of patience, letters of alphabet or both. These programs should follow the operating system's philosophy. Be small and run fast. Overloading the program with the features few people will ever use is even worse. Interfaces based on menus and buttons might be fine for the casual user, but for the professional, they are too slow. They should be offered as an option, but for the serious user, there is nothing faster. Keyboard commands that doesn't require hand movements, grasping the mouse, and performing complex motions. Many computer programs do have shortcuts, but they are too clumsy and limited to be of use. Compatibility should be enforced only when it doesn't obstruct the speed and simplicity. For a word processor, for example, the MS Word doc format is too cumbersome. Using it condemns the word processor too inefficient. Using the TRF or text formats will provide the unnecessary features with a far fewer complications. Unless there is some good reason for it, such as the internet, compatibility is just a hassle. Let us not forget that any good innovation came about because somebody did things differently and how they were done. Compatibility be damned. It's the vaccine that kills you. The operating system should prevent the programs from loading anything from the web into a computer unless the user explicitly tries to download such software. Putting something in my computer without my explicit request is a tantamount or to trespassing and squatting. In the unfortunate absence of the legal measures against software manufacturers, the operating system should block any unrequested download. If this means the living without cookies, so be it. I'm fairly sure that we will survive. If this means we must live without the razzmatazz of the websites that look like an LSD flashback, even better. We definitely be the better off without them. Users like to see in computer for the minimum memory of the occupancy and the maximum speed and at least making computers portable. Consider then the following first 2 points. First point, these days more and more people are portable as their main computer. So why not design an operating system that instead of being basically a desktop operating system with which the laptop must live, provides a laptop operating system which the desktop computers must live. By second, by forcing programmers to design a code focused on maximizing memory occupancy and processing speed will be better quality code. Programmers quite unsurprisingly seem to produce just that when guided by something other than the impossible delivery schedule and the continuous requests for the features. This at least is the lesson we might be inclined to draw a company of the quality of, say, embedded programs with the things that usually run on the PCs or even worse on the internet, a simpler operating system architecture, proper algorithm design, and more implementation, one that gives priority to processing speed and December 2007 123 occupancy would likely to be better to an operating system. Thank you.